So, Dr. Bhimull, great to have you on again. So, let's get started with our first word chosen last week, and that was JOOTAA. Now, as has happened with many Trinidad Bhojpuri words in the past on this feature, there was this instant throwback to a Bollywood flick, and in this case, it was back to a 50s movie, 3, 4, 20.
मेरा जूता है जापानी ये पतलून इंग्लिस्तानी.
And even if you can't remember the movie, you never saw the movie, the song effortlessly came to mind. I'm really anxious for you, Dr. Bhimull, to work out the word JOOTAA because we had shoes, we had sampled food for taste, and we had a lie. So it's over to you.
This would highlight how Hindi represented in a different script, or at least in the Roman script, could leave some sort of confusion with regard to the meaning of a word. So there are aspirants in not Hindi, but Hindustani Hindi, same thing. Those languages where you have a ja, just J, as in job, and then you have a jha, a jha. That sound doesn't really come to the English speaker. You have 4 different tals or palatal tals. Tals, yes. You have a dental where you would say like the word tap in English. So you have ta, and then you have a ta. You stick the first one, tip the tongue to the teeth, the second one to the tip of your tongue to your hard palate, right? So ta versus ta. And then you have the aspirated form, ta versus ha, right? Again, same difference, points of articulation. So yeah, combination of those could create a series of words with different meanings. So why it's important in Hindustani to have the pronunciation correct, because it could change the meaning, right? So the first from that song is Ju, just regular J, Ju, long U, right, as in pool, Ju, and the tip of the tongue to the teeth, JOOTAA, JOOTAA. So that is shoe, right? Plural will be joote, right? We all know the term JOOTAA, a simple ja, not aspirated, the same long U as in shoe, like in JOOTAA, but this is JOOTAA. So that is essentially, well, they say it's food that has been tasted and left back, or it could mean impure or something that has already been used. And then the last one is both aspirated, and it will be the same ta, tip of the tongue to the hard palate, and aspirated ja. So JOOTAA, which is different in pronunciation. I mean something different. So that's like a lie. Joot, so it means a lie.
We then move on to the word MANGAROO, a word and a name. Now, I read recently there was a survey where 2/3 of the parents who participated said it was easier to come up with the names for a girl than it was for a boy. But back in the day, it wasn't such a complicated process coming up with the name for a child. And I remember we tackled this one before, but a totally different name. So we went with MANGAROO.
The word for Tuesday is Bhojpuri is mangar, right? In Hindi, mangar, roll R. The ra in Bhojpuri is line Hindi, so mangal, mangalvar. So the var is dropped out. So again, the rule, add in the u, so we get mangaroo, boy born on a Tuesday. And then the female form, I know a girl by the name of Mangray, MANGRE, right?
Ah.
And there's a Mangray trace in, I think it's Bridal Road in St. Endeavour. So the girl I refer to, so the name would come from that, right? So that's the anglicization of the female form of Mangaroo, which would be Mangri.
Wednesdays give us a chance to catch a phrase. So we decided to go with the Trinidad Bhojpuri phrase, BHEEKH, MANGAY. And while many messaged and texted in to ask for assistance, to beg, to ask for help, there were those who made special reference to a religious tradition, BHEEKH MANGAY.
There's this Sanskrit expression, Bhiksham Dehi, which is to give alms, right? Or it's a conjugation of the verb. So Bhiksham means alms. You get Bhiksham becomes Bhikha and Bhik. And well, Mangay is to ask for, right?
Yes.
Or to want. So it's asking, literally means asking for alms. So it is asking for charity, right? Asking for a help, asking for a little something. So, yeah, in that context, so then it means like you're begging, right? So, Bhik Mange is to beg.
So from our Trinidad Bhojpuri phrase, we move on to CHANDAAL. So we had wicked, low-class, mischievous, naughty, hooligan, chor, CHANDAAL, crooked people. These were the basic response to the Trinidad Bhojpuri word, CHANDAAL.
So this is also the example of how words change in context, like coolie, right? You know the word coolie, number one. So you tend to find that the word coolie is used in a context of, in India itself, not so much disdain, but that same word would be used to refer to. So a coolie means a porter, right? Coolie karna means to call a porter. And there's a movie, Coolie number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in India, the term is not so derogatory, but during the censorship, because they had loads on their heads, they would call them a coolie, one who carries baggage.
Yes.
So it became a derogatory term. So this is an example in India itself. So this word originally had meant the lower caste of Brahmins, right? Brahmin is a broad caste, so they divided into different and based on their last names or whatever. And they would use the lower caste of Brahmin to call them Chandaal, which comes from Sanskrit, right? Obviously, the caste system and that aristocracy would have not or no longer been en vogue anymore. In other words, then the word would survive, but assume a new context. So obviously, you could see now, because of the negative connotation, it would have meant, it would have now come to mean a bad person, an outcast. So in Trinidad Bhojpuri, when they would use it would mean useless people. No? These people who have disdain for, corrupt, that kind of thing, right? So if you say Uta Chandaal Bate, right, which is Trinidad Bhojpuri, then he's a no good. He's a adla. He's waste time.
And we usually wrap up with a food-related Trinidad Bhojpuri word. This is a must-have in your kitchen garden, especially when you're making chow here in Trinidad. We're very familiar with shadow benny and bandhaniya, but we learned cilantro. We learned stinkweed. We learned spirit weed. I believe Rameshwar said spirit weed. That's what it's referred to drive away the bhoot. Some said wild dhania. Others said they simply knew it as dhania. Bandhaniya.
Right. So as a child, I didn't know that was dhania. So dhania is coriander or cilantro, right? It comes in the seeds. I remember that my grandmother would use that to make masala, right? Dhania. So yeah, the English word will be cilantro, which really comes from Spanish, and coriander, right? The sources of origin, dhania would be from China, India, Africa, that trade route. So the Indians would have known dhania when they came here. However, bandhaniya, its native origins would be in South America, the Caribbean, and Some parts are North America, so it's specific to this part of the world. So the Indians would have encountered something that tastes like or has a flavor similar to dhania in the bun or the forest, the bush area, in the bush. And you know how bandhaniya grows. It grows a lot wild in the bush. And that is how it would have existed here. And it tastes a bit similar. It has its a uniqueness about it, but it tastes similar to dhania. So they call it bandhaniya, right? Which is shadow benny. That's culantro. Now, cilantro and culantro come from the same word. Culantro is an older word for cilantro. Yeah, that's something uniquely Caribbean on this part of the world that now developed a new word, bandhaniya, because it tasted like dhania, right? Dhania being, again, cilantro or coriander, and bandhaniya being culantro.
And there you have it, another interesting week of the Trinidad Bhojpuri Words and a Phrase with me, Karen Das, and Dr. Visham Bhimull. Tell us how folks can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so you could visit Caribbean Hindustani on Facebook, on YouTube, and then there's a website, caribbeanhindustani.org.
Trinidad Bhojpuri Words and a Phrase is a KDC production in collaboration with Caribbean Hindustani. Stay with us, keep up with us online for more Trinidad Bhojpuri Words and Phrase.